Good morning. Welcome to this week's edition of Monday's Messages. Oh, I've got a good message for you today. I'm excited to talk about today's message because things that happened and transpired yesterday inspired me so much, and I'm just overflowing with gratitude for the experience I had yesterday. So I'm in 12-step recovery right now. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I've been in recovery for like 23 years now. Part of the recovery process is working with newcomers and helping the hopeless find the hope that was so freely given to you when you came into the rooms of the 12-step recovery process. And not everybody gets it when they first walk in. Some people it takes a little bit. Some people, it takes a long time. There's people who try for years and years and years and never get it. And then there's people who try for years and years and years and eventually it takes and they get it and they run with it. I've seen both in my time in sobriety. Part of the beauty of the program of the 12-step recovery process is when you see God in action. And I saw God in action yesterday, and it was beautiful. I got to share it with you. So I've been working with this newcomer. She's been struggling, and we become fairly close. And I really cherish this girl, and I want the best for her and her recovery. And so I have been praying for her and working with her. And, I'm not her sponsor, but I am part of her lifeboat that she chose to go in. And she fell out of the lifeboat and was treading water. And I was reaching out my hand to pull her into our lifeboat again. She wasn't quite ready to take that hand yet, though. She still wanted to tread water some more. I threw in the life preserver. She put the life preserver on, but she wasn't quite ready to surrender and hop back in the boat, the lifeboat of sobriety with us, and surrender that she can't do this anymore. And so we had been talking, and she had made a plan that November 1st was going to be her day. That was her day to surrender and really jump in and start this new life and take this beautiful gift that God was gifting her. All she had to do was let go of the old life so that she could receive the new life. So November 1st comes, and I get a text that morning, and I'm so excited because it was like, yes, I've surrendered. This is the day. And then maybe an hour later, there was another text saying, I changed my mind. I'm not quite ready yet. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. And at first the wind went out of my sails. I'm like, oh, no. You don't have to do this. You can still surrender today. And so I got on and I started texting her back this big long message. And then I changed my mind, and then I erased it, and then I started typing another text, and then I changed. So what she was probably seeing was like the little bubble, 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 and then it go away, and then the bubble, 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 and go away on her text message. And finally it just hit me. It's like, you know what? I'm going to turn her straight to the solution that will point her to the direction of surrender, and what she chooses to do with the information, up to her. So I told her to pull out some reading material on the first step in recovery. And she did, and she pulled out that reading material. And then I thought, there's a story I want this girl to read that's in the back of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And so I went running up to my room because I had the perfect story I wanted her to read. And so I run in, I grab my big book, and it opens up to, I just like open it up, and it opens up to a specific page. And something caught my eye on this page. On this page, it said, It is a cold, bleak day in November. I have fought hard to stop drinking. Each battle has ended in defeat. I tell my wife I cannot stop drinking. She begs me to go to the hospital for alcoholics that has been recommended. I say I will go. She makes the arrangements, but I will not go. I'll do it all myself. This time I'm off it for good. I'll just take a few more beers now and then. It is the last day of the following October, a dark, rainy morning. I come up, I come to on a pile of hay in a barn. I look for liquor and can't find any. I wander to the table and drink 5 bottles of beer. I must get some liquor. Suddenly I feel hopeless, unable to go on. I go home. My wife is in the living room. She had looked for me the last evening after I left the car and wandered in the night. So long story short, he surrenders and ends up going into a hospital, and he has this amazing God shot of moment where he questions whether there's a God, and he's like, if there's a God, he certainly hasn't done anything for me. And he hears God speak directly to him, who are you to say there is no God? And that blew his mind. He got on his knees and immediately surrendered. As I read this, I felt like God was speaking directly to me. He's like, you need to get this message right now to this girl because she needs to hear it. Because it was almost as if it was written directly from God's hands to this girl, because it's the exact thing that she was going through. It's November. She was going to surrender, but she didn't. And so I texted her. I said, you need to right now take advantage of this amazing God shot that just happened. You need to turn to page 213 in the big book. It's called Our Southern Friend, and we are in the South, so that caught my attention too. But it's all about this person surrendering on the 1st of November. So she read it, and it spoke directly to her. And what I didn't realize was it was even more of a God shot than I had. I had just thought, oh, it's the first day of November and she needs to surrender. Well, if you read in that story when I was reading that, this guy tried to surrender the first time. He kind of thought he could do it on his own. It took him a year later to get to the final place of surrender when he woke up on the haystack. And let's face it, if you're an alcoholic, you've woken up on a few haystacks in your day as well with a bottle of liquor by. But she didn't want to do that anymore. And she realized last November she had surrendered and was beating herself up for how far she thought she hadn't come. And then she didn't want to do this another year. And this was God saying to her directly, okay, that's enough. It's enough. How many haystacks do you need to wake up on with a bottle of liquor by your side? Get up, surrender. Let's do this thing. And she went to our meeting, and she surrendered and took the we give out chips. She took a white chip for surrender, and it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And knowing the whole process of not me doing it, I didn't do anything. It was God like kind of laying down the breadcrumbs, like, hey, I need you to point this girl in my direction, and I'll handle it from there. And I got to remember that, as I carry the message, I'm just a message carrier. That's all I am. I am carrying the message to the hopeless. The same message that, thank God, there were so many messengers carrying the message to me when I first got sober. So grateful for that, and I needed. I drank those messages up like I was thirsting for them. I thirsted for these messages because I just wanted to feel okay. So that's the beautiful God shot on surrender today, and knowing that I don't always have to know what the message is. God will reveal the message at the right time, in the right way. All I have to do is just deliver it. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm delivering the message to you today. God's out there. There's God shots all over if you look for them. there are really no coincidences in God's world. So think about it. What's your God shots? Have you had some God shots lately? There's some. I promise you, there's some in your life where there's just too great a coincidence for it to have been anything but divine intervention from whatever your higher power may be. And know, when these God shots happen, they're just a glimpse of God. It's kind of like a little snapshot that God gives you, saying, "I'm still here. Don't worry, I got you. I'm 100% with you." One of my favorite God shots was when I was working with a sponsee, and we had just got done doing the fifth step, and she had her journal, and I told her she needed to burn her fourth step, so she burns it, and she's like, "Everything burned except this one page. I couldn't get it to burn," and I looked at it, and it was the third step prayer. I'm like, you don't think that? I mean, if that had happened to me, I would have had that little burnt piece of paper. She took a picture of it, thankfully it was beautiful. I was like, this burnt piece of paper, and all you see is the third step prayer out of that whole journal that didn't burn. And I said, "Don't you think somebody's trying to tell you something here?" So why don't I end it on the third step prayer today? We'll pray us out with it's called the third step prayer in the 12-step recovery, and it is, "God, I offer myself to you to do with me and as you will. Please relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do your will, and take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help with thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do your will always." So I'm giving it over to God today and trusting and knowing that in his hands, everything's okay today. All is well. And I promise you all is well with you too. So have a wonderful day. I will see you next week for the next Monday message. Bye.